Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the First Class, Second Place podcast. I'm your host, Jason Enrique, and with me today, we have a very special guest. We got none other than my homeboy, Joel Frometa. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man.
Don't let me hang, man. Come on.
I was locked in, my man.
No problem. But you know what? First and foremost, I got to say, thank you. Thank you for coming in clutch. This is kind of last minute. I know that you kind of like, you probably had plans and everything, but like I really appreciate you taking the time to come out here very last minute. You came in clutch, and yeah, let's just get into it, man. Because this is actually in the making. Like we were gonna plan something like this later on down the line, but I was like, hey, no, I got something available now. You available? And then you just came through, so I really appreciate that.
Of course, man. I'm just happy that you would think of me, man, and that you would have me here.
Oh, you know what? I was thinking about it since we worked together on that project Nights with a K, which should be out on Halloween 2023. But we'll get into all of that real quick. And before we start, I just want to remind everybody that we are in lovely Garfield, New Jersey, in Bravery Studios. Shout out to Steve, the engineer behind the glass. Thank you very much, Steve. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. So yeah, let's just get the show started with the let's get the homework out of the way, as I like to call it. So where does the story of Joel Frometa begin? Like, where were you born and raised?
Where was I born and raised? Well, not a lot of people can tell based on my accent, but I was actually born in Dominican Republic.
Okay.
Yeah. But I got brought over here when I was very young, 8 months, right? And I've been raised in Union City, New Jersey, my whole life.
And what was your experience like personally growing up in Union City?
It was all right, man. I you know what? I can't really say I had, because Union City it's a healthy mix of like, a very thick Hispanic culture. It's not really an area where you're afraid to grow up. You're able to go out and you're not afraid anything will happen, anything like that. So it's not like dangerous. So it's I gotta say it was pretty nice. I like Union City. The only thing is, you develop some sort of claustrophobia.
I can imagine, yeah.
Exactly. Like even now as an adult, you go there, you can't find any parking, but I still got love for it.
Believe me, man. Back in 2008, 2009, I was dating somebody that lived in Union City or that North Bergen area. Just the congestion. Like forget about looking for parking. Like I definitely got a lot of cardio with the amount of parking that I had to do blocks away from where she lived, and I was it was tough. It was tough. Yeah, I can't imagine you people doing groceries out there. Especially if you live in a big ass apartment building. Oh man, I don't even want to put myself through that. I've been through my own personal stuff as far as like even in Wallington, but we'll just go as that's concerned. So, born and raised in, coming from Dominican Republic, and then coming here, basically raised in Union City, Jersey boy all your life. What would you say were some dreams and aspirations that you had growing up while you were living in Union City?
Well, see, my story is a little, it has a little, like anybody's life, little ups and downs. So, my mom actually got ill when I was like around 15. So I kind of had to figure stuff out. Then I was kind of like on the wrestling team. So I was trying to stay on sports in high school and stuff like that. So it was really hard piecing those last 2 years together of high school.
Right.
So as soon as I got out, I had to jump in straight into the military.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I went into the Army as soon as I turned 19 years old. And that's kind of like where I grew up, man, honestly. That's honestly where I learned. A lot of people say, "Oh, is that where you did your growing up?" I didn't really do my growing up till like years later, but I did learn the basics of life. Like I did learn discipline. I also learned how to like do chores that I kind of didn't really know how to do at the age of 15. I did have the Latino mom who like would like pull out that chancleta, if you didn't do what you had to do, but...
Oh, yeah. Chancleta faja. I've been through all of it.
She do that thing like a frisbee, bro. She'd catch me like down the hall, boy. Like, it was crazy. But, that's kind of where my manhood started, was in the military. So...
well, first and foremost, I wasn't aware of that, so thank you for your service, first and foremost.
Yeah.
And what about as far as like, was it just you and your mom, or did you have any other family, or what's the dynamic there?
Well, I wasn't really close to my mom's family.
I see.
So I was close to them when I was younger, but kind of when I hit like my late teen years, we kind of drifted apart. And when my mom got sick, it's just sometimes family just has their stuff.
Is she not with us anymore?
She is.
Okay, all right.
She lives in Union City. You know,
Okay,
she's better now. She's better now.
Okay,
but,
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. Sorry, if I made mom forgive me. I still consider, you know.
Yeah.
But no, she's here. Thankfully, she's better. But you know, she went through a lot, you know, and like you know, she feels kind of bad that I had to kind of piece it all together at that point. But it worked out. Honestly, I feel that I turned out better than a lot of others. So you know, I'm happy to say, you know, I'm sitting here on the couch with you, man.
Oh, well,
You know? Exactly.
I appreciate that, man. Hey, I mention all the time ad nauseum. Everybody knows that I practically say this every single episode. I'm pretty sure Steve is sick of hearing me say this, but the name of the show is First Class, Second Place. Therefore, we take pride in bringing first class people on the show. So if I want you on here, that says a lot of about what I think of you.
All right, cool. You're gassing me up, bro.
Yeah, don't get gassed.
No. I mean, I wanted to come on here because you know, every time I hear your voice, I think of Latino Batman.
Wow, that's a first.
Yeah,
that's a first.
I wanted to be here with Latino Batman, so this is a dream come true, man.
That's a first. I never heard that. I've heard of other characters, but never Batman. But I'll take it.
Well, Latino Batman.
Latino Batman. Excuse me.
Can't cover up that hair, bro.
Yeah, it's just too bad my Spanish is not very fluent, unfortunately. So
that's all right,
yeah, I always joke around that my parents, especially my mom, they only spoke to me in Spanish when I did something wrong. So that chancleta that you were talking about earlier, that's why I basically had to dodge the frisbee and also try to learn my Spanish at the same time.
Right.
So that's when I knew.
So you're bobbing weaving.
Exactly. You know, basically that's when I heard that Spanish, I was like duck for cover, basically.
Oh, yeah, no, I feel that. So wait, when they would call you by your full name, is that what you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, not my full.
When they would roll those R's.
not my full government, but my first name. It's 2 syllables. So the first one would be normal, and then the second would be loud. Like that's when I knew I fucked up. Jason. That's when I knew I was in trouble or whatever. But you know, shout out to Mom. She watches the show, so love you very much. Thank you for the support, Mom.
Mom, you did everything right. So.
Yeah. I like to think so. I'm really excited to have her and my sister come up for the premiere of this project that we're gonna get into in a little bit. We'll expand on that after a little later. But so aside from your military life and your military career and so on and so forth, what else did you learn going on? Like what are some of your trades now? Like what do you do for a living now, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, right now, I work for a logistics company, right? That's my day job. Right?
Okay.
Where I handle a lot of the collection analytics.
Yeah. It's a hard word, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, if we have to take multiple takes, I won't be mad. And you know, it's not really. I call it my day job because it's not really a passion. You know, unfortunately, to survive here in this country, you have to have, you know, something that pays the bills. You know?
And you know what? I'm glad that you said that because you practically took the words out of my mouth. Because when you mentioned day job, I knew exactly what you meant because that's exactly what I'm going through right now. Yeah, I have a day job. I have bills to pay. I got rent and so on and so forth. I got to put food on the table. But that is not my passion. Now, what's crazy is that I used to think that was my passion, what I'm doing now, truck driving. I used to think that was my passion, but it was also kind of like where I was still in this mind state where, you know, I knew as a younger kid, I wanted to do something in the entertainment business. You know, I mentioned before that I had dreams of being a director when I was 9, and, you know, we're not going to get into all that story because my audience has heard it ad nauseum at this point.
Oh, let them
but
hear it again.
hey, they could watch reruns. They can watch reruns, right. So there you go. But then there came a point in my life where I just felt like, you know, I was trying to do this, I was trying to do that, and nothing was working. So I just thought maybe I should just be relegated to just, you know, I don't think I'm destined for greatness as much as I wanted to. So maybe I'm just supposed to be that worker bee that just has a really good job and is able to provide for himself and just, you know, just look at those dreams that I had as a pipe dream or whatever. And, you know, it was what it was, and at least I gave it a shot. And so that was around the time when I felt like truck driving was my passion, and I really had a knack for it. But as I achieved that already, there was nothing else for me there was no other challenges for me. And it led me to a really dark place in my life where I was really depressed, and it kind of made me want to go back to figure out what it is that made me happy when I was younger. And I remember when I wanted to get into the radio business at one point, And, you know, fast forward to now, the radio business is a dying industry and podcast is blowing up. It seems like everybody in the mother has a podcast now. Not everybody can do it like we do, but that's neither here nor there. I just found this as my passion, and this is what I look forward to. I only do this once a week, but I look forward to this. This is like my poker night. There's something about me that every time I come in front of a microphone, whether it's on my show or somebody else's podcast or whatever, I feel liberated. I feel liberated. I feel good. I feel like I'm supposed to be doing this, and it's definitely the highlight of my day, highlight of my week, whatever. And it just led me to believe that, you know what? Why stop here? I already set out to do something that I said that I was gonna do, and why should I stop there? I didn't let truck driving stop me. I didn't let that, you know, consume me, as that was my passion and that was my dream and that's what I was destined for. I wanted more. And, you know, now I'm kind of dipping my toe into other avenues as well. And I'm just really glad that podcasting was really the foundation for me getting into this momentum that I'm feeling right now.
Yeah.
So, so with that being said, what led you to want to get into arts, as far as like modeling and acting and so on and so forth? And I even told you before that I think that there might be a possible future of you being a future podcaster, but we'll touch on that later on. But let's stay with this right now, as far as why you felt like what you're doing right now, as far as the acting, like is defined as your passion right now.
Well, to touch up on something you had said before, which I've really. And I guess we can consider this a two-parter.
Absolutely, yeah.
But one thing that that you kind of touched up on that I can appreciate is that people don't realize that the American mindset, right, that I've seen is very, very limited. You know, from my story anyway. Like, I kind of landed in a corporate world where I measured my future based on the dollar amount. And I said, because what do you hear? Like, oh, I need to make 6 figures somehow. Yeah. You know, I need to get this total somehow. And then you don't care how you make it. So it's not that money doesn't buy happiness, it's how you make the money. You know, if you're doing, that's why they say if you do what you love, you don't work a day in your life.
Right.
And in that corporate world, it literally felt like I was working, you know, a whole lifetime in just 1 year. And man, I can't grow hair. I can't grow gray hairs, man. I don't want to. I just don't want to. So like, you know, the stress isn't worth it. And you shave years off your life like that. And, you know, that's why with the acting, you know, leading to that question, and the modeling, it's something that I always flirted with, you know, but I again, the limited mindset, the American mind. And the reason why I say American is because you see people who come here from other countries, right? And they come in here with the mindset that the American dream is real, and the American dream is that you can do whatever you want here, because where they're from, their mentality isn't limited, the culture is. So when they kind of break free out of that here, they're like, oh, I can do anything. And then you see people who've been here a couple of years do more than somebody who's been here 30.
Right. Know? Yeah, absolutely. We see it all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's the thing, is because people, when they're here, it's kind of like they're taught, go to college, find the job that fits your major, and then that's how you'll make money, a one direction road. And, you know, going back to the same question you'd asked me about how did I end up with modeling and acting. When I first said, you know what, I'm gonna pursue the modeling aspect and the acting aspect, I said modeling first, because you know it seemed like the easiest thing to do. I know it sounds lazy, but and you know, at first I was like, I can't say I'm a model. That sounds so douchey, you know? Like, oh yeah, I'm a model, you know?
Like, you're full of yourself and shit. Yeah,
exactly, right? Yeah. Because you think of people who say that they're kind of like all hung up on themselves and stuff. So, but then after a while I said, you know, profession is a profession. And I actually like the fact that I can meet new people. That I love that I can meet people that know about the industry way more than I do, and I can learn from them and pick their brain and make new relationships and stuff. And it just worked out great, man. Like, it's honestly like the people that I've met along the way, or I've met through this journey. And you know, I gotta say, it's just it never gets boring. You know, even if I do it for free, I'm still happy. Right. You know, but it just means I need my day job more,
I get it.
But I can't choose over that anymore. I can't put that over that anymore. Like, I need to pursue this. Like my instincts, everything within me says, Joel, this is the path you're supposed to be on.
Right.
And it's going to be a fun one. And I'm consumed by it, bro. I
Right.
can't stop.
And I get where you're coming from, because my mindset now is, yeah, I have a day job, but I'm no longer in that mindset where I feel like this day job is my priority. This is just secondary for me, because all it really does for me is just grow my bank account. That's all it does.
Doesn't it kind of feel like it's in the way though?
It is in the way. It is in the way, but you like, the way that I look at it is that when you're passionate about something, you're not going to let really any obstacles get in the way, which actually is a nice segue that I wanted to get into real quick. So I've talked about on the show before that one of the reasons why I never pursued any of my dreams and aspirations earlier on was a little bit of my self-doubt and discouragement, because I let myself get discouraged by people that I thought that they felt like they knew better. Well, they knew what was best for me. Yeah. And now
it's the most dangerous ones.
Yeah. And it's always the ones that are closest to you, especially family. And when you actually start to branch out on your own and you get some semblance of success, they come around and they're very supportive and you appreciate it, but the thing is that you kind of had to prove them wrong, and nothing is more satisfying than proving people wrong especially when it comes to something that you really love doing. So when it came to you chasing your passion, did you feel like you had to go through those trials and tribulations of people that were trying to put self-doubt on you or make you discouraged in what you really wanted to do? And if so, did it affect you in any way, shape, or form?
Yes and no. Because to do what I'm doing now, the journey that I'm on now, I had to completely change my mindset. And with that, I had to kind of tune out what those people would say. For example, somebody who means nothing in my life. I was talking to this girl at the very beginning of this journey, and she had asked me what I do, and I told her the same thing. My day job is this. And I told her what, about the modeling and the acting. But I told her modeling first, and her answer was like, "You really think you're that cute?" And I was like, bro, I swear to God, it was literally an instant block. I was like, I don't need that negativity, bro. Like, I don't need that negativity. Right. And people have this misconception that you have to be drop dead gorgeous to be a model. No, modeling literally fits for anybody nowadays.
Yeah.
Everything. It's
especially now, all the diversity that we have.
Exactly. Now it's not like you have to starve yourself, or you have to be on America's Top Model in order to be able to make it. Like now, literally, there's a market for everybody. You just have to put yourself out there.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. I went to a store earlier today. I'm not going to mention because I don't want them to flag me. Yeah. But they actually had a picture of like maybe a 50 or 60-year-old African American woman in bra and panties. Yeah. And she looked phenomenal for her age, but you could tell that what age she was because she had full gray hair. Yeah. So that just goes to show that we're living in a time now where anything is possible as far as looks aren't. We're not living in the Abercrombie and Fitch world where like you had to live a certain criteria in order to be successful in the modeling world. We've expanded and we've progressed long since then. So, but yeah, please continue.
No, but to piggyback on that, on these photo shoots, like the first photo shoot I went to, like I went there and did a couple push-ups and stuff like that, went in there kind of pumped, and I go in and there's somebody that's literally like half my size, a kid, and so the tall factor was out the window, so I was like, all right, you don't have to be tall. And then somebody came in and she was like, I want to say like 25, 30 years older than me, I'm exaggerating a little bit. I don't need to put out what my age is. But, she was older, and, and then in the end, it was a kid that came in. Like this kid was like 4 or 5 years old, So it literally, that shoot showed me early on that it really is a diverse industry, that can be more, but you like anything else, you just got to put the work in, man. And you got to tune out, because there's people who think that 9 to 5 is the only way that you'll survive, that old mentality of like, no, son, you have to work in the mine, and you have to be able to work, like your brothers and your uncles and I'm the one person, like Derek Zoolander, like in the movie, like his family worked in the mines or whatever. Right. Like the same thing. So like, I don't believe in that, man. I don't believe that in my life I have to give 5 days to 9 to 5, 8 hours a day You know what I'm saying? Like, look how much time in a day that you actually have. Like, it's not that much when you think about it. When you tune out the stuff that you have to do, like, you know, it's just to give all your time like that, to me, is unfathomable now. Before, I used to give all my time, but now, like, I look at it and I'm like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
You know, and we get old quick, man. Like, the years fly by, you know, and it doesn't help that now you can walk into any convenience store and it could be July and you'll see stuff for November. Like, you know, the world just naturally just moves quick now.
Yeah, I saw decorations for Halloween already, and we're not even finished with August yet.
Bro, there was stuff for Thanksgiving early July. And when I saw it, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna. This is just the world we live in now. We want to live ahead of the times, and we don't have to.
So for me, I want to piggyback a little bit of what you just said about as far as like the whole 9 to 5 thing. So one of the things that that I experienced was, I remember an ex-girlfriend of mine that we were hanging out at home one night. We were watching TV. It was a Sunday night. I was introducing her to this movie that I really wanted her to watch because it was one of my favorites. But she was so involved in, like, you know, her mind was in another place. And then all of a sudden, she just started breakdown crying. She started breakdown crying, and the reason that she started just breaking down and couldn't stop sobbing uncontrollably is because she was afraid of going back to work the next day. She hated her job so much that it allowed her to fuck up her Sunday night because she's already dreading going into it the next day. And I felt bad for her, and I'm glad that she's not in that job anymore, last I heard. But that was a revelation for me, because it made me realize that even though this person is making a little bit more money than I am, how is it that I'm somewhat a little bit happier than where she is right now? And it's not that I'm saying that I love my job. It was more like I didn't hate it enough to dread it the next day coming. So I just feel like that was a little bit of a wake-up call for me, because it goes back to what you were saying, you know, like, money doesn't buy happiness. I mean, like I said, she made more money than I did at the time, but she was miserable. And it made me realize that we're not on this earth for very long. And, you know, I'm 37 now. I'm about to be 40 before in the blink of an eye, and it just felt like I just turned 30 not long ago. You know, so the time is moving fast.
You look great for 37, man.
Thank you, man.
I wouldn't have said 37.
It's Spanish, you know. We eat our sopa and we're good, man. Our sopa, little sancocho and shit. But
I don't want to say I don't eat soup, because then I'll get banned from the Latino community. So,
no, you know what? Yeah, I'll get banned from your Dominicans right now when I've actually said that I despise mango. I'm sorry, I do not like it. Yeah,
that hurt me.
Sorry, all my people, que lo que. I'm very sorry, you know.
But you don't like any type of plátano, or is it just
no? It's just mango. I love mofongo.
Okay, mofongo.
Yeah,
okay.
I think it's just a texture thing for me.
Okay. Oh, the tech. All right, that's all right. That's all right. It's not for anybody. I actually, my best friend is actually Peruvian. And
so is Steve, our engineer, right there.
There you go, Steve. Yo, I love papolo huancaína, man. That stuff is delicious, bro. That stuff it goes with everything.
Give me that roach alpha. That's what I'm done for.
Oh, yeah. But my boy would, and I know him since we were in 4th grade, and he has this thing where he loves to troll me in front of other people, and he loves to do it when we like when it's an inside joke or whatever. But that's a whole different segment that we can go all day on that. But he would always tell people, like, oh, my best friend is Dominican, and he never introduced me to tres golpe. You ever had tres golpe? It's the mango with the fried cheese and the salami and the egg. It's, they say tres golpe, but there's like 6 of them in there. But actually yesterday, right, I was on my way to work, and I felt like being nice, and I was like, you know what, I'm finally gonna buy this mofo, the tres golpe, right? And I get it for him, and bro, he looked at the mango like it was like a blob of like he was like, ugh. And I was like, you've been talking trash for like 3 years, and then you won't even touch the stuff. So I get it. It was the texture, and it just didn't work out for him.
Yeah.
But I bet you if I would have given him like sweet plantains, everybody loves sweet plantains. You don't like sweet plantains?
No, I do. I'm just more of a tostones guy.
Tostones guy. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, so you rather the salty?
I'm more salty and crunchy type of guy. I'm the type of guy that rather have potato chips than candy. If that makes sense.
No. Yeah, I don't have a big sweet tooth.
Yeah, me neither. I used to, but as I'm getting older, like my palate has changed and my body is thanking me for it at the same time.
Yeah.
So I feel like in our industry, there's a lot of people that are just like us, where they sense like a little bit of sense of discouragement, not just from not getting the support from their loved ones, but they actually really try hard, and it's just like they're not getting what they want, or like they're just having a bad stretch of luck, or maybe they just don't have what it takes. But I always feel like no matter what, you should always chase your passion. To anybody that's out there watching and listening, and they're in the same boat as us, or probably in the beginning stages, based on what you've experienced so far in your career, in your young career, what piece of advice, or would you tell them as far as like not to get discouraged and don't let anybody, tell you that you can't achieve your dreams?
I'd say it's okay to suck. You know, it's okay if you're not good at it at first. It's the work that kind of gets you there. For example, with the acting stuff, like I knew early on, even though my manager, Cassandra Jackson, shout out to her, she would, I would talk to her and she would say, "Oh, you don't need this, Joel. You you can do this without it." I would tell her, "No, I want to take an acting class," and it was just because I needed all of my stuff that I would do. It would be in front of a camera, in front of my iPhone, at home, and like I would try out scenes and stuff. And it wasn't the same. I needed to be in front of somebody. I needed somebody to give me feedback. So then I joined a class out in Manhattan, and the instructor was great. She was great. She taught me a lot. She her feedback was just gold, man. What she would say to me was just gold. But I could suck in that class. Like I can be bad in that class because she would tell me what I could do better. So
you're allowed to fuck up, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. So for anybody who's looking to jump into something that they've had their eye on, I would say it's okay to be bad at it. You just you can't. They say you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right?
Yeah.
That's the perfect, thing to say to that.
Yeah, that's the perfect analogy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like you just have to kind of jump in there, and it's sink or swim, but you can't think about the sink part.
Yeah, and listen, man, when I started the podcast way back in 2021, I didn't look at myself as this otherworldly podcast host that's going to blow everybody outside of the water and be like, look out, Joe Rogan, I'm coming for your money, or anything like that.
Yeah, you had to go for the Rogan first.
I mean, that's I could have said Joe Budden, but either way. But but like I just went at it because it was something that I thought that I could be pretty decent at, and possibly excel at. And we're this is episode 101 now, and I feel like the host that I am now compared to how I was in episode 1, 2, and 3 is exponentially better. And it's so I would say honestly back then that I did suck. In the first couple episodes I did suck because I'm not putting my words together right. I'm saying a lot. I say a lot. You could definitely hear the nerves in my voice. Yeah. And now this is like kind of like second nature to me. And a friend of mine, shout out to Nat. We were texting a little bit earlier the other day, and she actually gave me a lot of basically a stamp of approval about how she loves the fact that I've been able to really expand and also grow as a host, and she could see that I'm much more happier now than I've ever been in the entire time that she's known me. So that's goes perfectly in line with what you're saying, because it's not going to work out in the beginning. But I think also to add to that, to what you were mentioning, is that it's okay to suck, it's okay to fuck up and all of that, but just don't give up. Just keep on at it. You may feel a little bit discouraged in the beginning, you might feel a little sting here and there, but ultimately it's going to lead to something better, and you're going to keep on growing, and you're going to excel in whatever it is that you want to do. It could be acting, could be modeling, could be directing, could be cooking, could be podcasting, whatever the case may be. And I feel like we live in a world now where people are starting to find out that it's not that far-fetched to finally chase our dreams, no matter how big or minute they may be. As long as the happiness is there, because I feel like that was lost for a very long time, especially from the generation before us.
I 100% agree.
So let's get now into the meat and potatoes, as Marv would say. Shout out to Marv from Bravery Studios. Bravery up! So we happen to meet on the television show Nights, season 3, which will be out on Halloween 2023, and check out for the grand opening premiere at Cityplex in Newark Theaters on October 29th. Tickets will be in the link on my Instagram. And so let me give you a little bit of explanation about how I got involved into the show.
Okay.
And that, because I know that you got involved with the show because of me, essentially.
Yes.
So I went to a networking event in, ironically, at Cityplex. Where we're gonna have the premiere at for Nights.
Okay.
And what I love about this is because it feels like it's becoming full circle. Because this is where I met Jean Sebastian. Shout out to Jean. Shout out to everybody, Lamar Smith, and everybody. So I got a chance to meet them there, and I went to that event because for two reasons. One, I wanted to, network and try to possibly find people to come on the podcast eventually, because there was a whole bunch of people there. There were actors, producers, directors, writers, musicians, what have you. And Jean was like the one that really stuck out to me for some reason. I mean, that guy, there's a swagger and enthusiasm about him. He's very passionate. And, he's very, you feed off of that energy, and I me and everybody else in our circle know that he's destined to be a huge star. I'm willing to bet my money on it. And but he was a fantastic kid. I enjoyed meeting him, and the second part is I wanted to kind of like network with people because I wanted to get into voice acting, which I'm finally starting to make the moves on that finally. I took your advice also as well as far as backstage, so you guys can follow me on backstage as well. So then I remember when Jean was telling me about they were about to shoot season 3 of Nights, and they asked me if I'd be interested in taking on this role. And I was thinking to myself, man, I wasn't thinking about real acting like in front of a camera. I was thinking more about voice acting, but I'm not going to pass up this opportunity. So I said, fuck it, I'm going to go for it. I like Gene and everything that he's been doing, so it doesn't hurt. And why not, It's something that I never thought I'd do, but, how bad can it really be?
See, but what you just said there, that's what I'm referring to. Like, you don't know who you're going to meet in this industry. And that's what, like, literally, like excites me, because it's like, you don't know, like the next person you meet might be an up and coming star. The next person you meet, you might be able to influence. Like, it just never gets boring, man.
No.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I love
Absolutely. I love it, man. And then, we filmed a couple of scenes, and then afterwards they asked me to direct, and I was very honored for the opportunity. And I had a lot of fun, and we needed to find people. We need to find extras. And, I also have to give credit to Cass also, because she was the one that told me about you. And I introduced you to my people. And one of the things, and first and foremost, I feel like I have to kind of apologize, because I remember when you reached out to me on Instagram and you were letting me know how excited that you were to meet me and possibly work with me in the future. There's a chance I might have been a little bit dismissive in the beginning, and that was not my intention. And if it came off that way, I apologize, because I've had a history of doing that. I've always had to answer for it. So, but I'm, you're one of the first people that I thought of, and again, shout out to Cass for referring you. And I'm really glad that it happened, because not only did I enjoy working with you on set and from your professionalism, but I didn't realize how much of our dynamic and our chemistry was going to be a big factor in us working together. I mean, we're not just colleagues now. I actually look at you as a really good friend of mine. I mean, we talk shit all the time.
I would say the same thing. What's funny? I didn't feel that you were dismissive at all. I kind of got the feeling that you were just very busy.
Possibly, yeah. But
and
but sometimes that's no excuse. Like you gotta shoot. You gotta, first impressions are always a big thing.
Yeah. I feel that even if you would have tried to forget me, Cass wouldn't have let you. Cass is very intense, and I love her for that. Great manager.
She's like a lion in a suit or something.
Yeah, well, she's like my industry mom.
Okay,
even though we're the same age and we've known each other forever. But yeah, she would have made sure that that you wouldn't have forgotten me. And you know what? That's my job, to make sure that you don't forget me, and for me to put myself out there and stuff. But no, like I didn't get that from you. I appreciate you considering that factor, but nah.
Okay, good. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure, because like I said, it's happened before, and it has rubbed some people the wrong way, and that I feel like I have to answer for it.
I would have cried in the shower to myself, and it came out burning. I'm an ugly crier, but whatever. Yeah.
Hey, all the greatest actors can be ugly criers, man. So I think you're in good.
I think you're drama to the scene.
I think you're gonna be good company, man, as far as that's concerned.
They see you cry ugly, they'll be like, "Oh, that guy's a good actor." So it works out. It adds drama.
They just don't know the pain that I went through to get to this ugly crying.
Every time I want to cry on demand, I just think about the time that Jason dismissed me.
Touche. Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit, well, at least also tell me and my audience a little bit about your experience, since I had the chance to direct you in the episode.
Well, The experience was great, man. It was a long.
It was a long process.
It was a long process,
Yeah.
but it was very. It was intense. It was good. It was cool. You know, my favorite were the fight scenes. Obviously, I mean, I keep mispronouncing his name because I pronounce it like I read it, Jean, but it's Jean, right?
Jean, yeah.
You know,
gotta add a little French flair to it.
exactly.
Jean,
Right?
Jean
I was like, all right, that's your staging, right?
Yeah, shout out to Jean, man. I love you, bro.
Jean. No, he's great, man. I mean, I did get jumped a couple times, but no hard feelings. No, the kid is tough, man. There was some scenes I don't want to put out too much out there, but this kid could take a bump and he just pops right back up. You know what I'm saying? And he never gets tired. And his hustle, man, it was just very easy to try to keep up with that. And even though the days were long, you know, you guys, you know, like it was very easy to like, you know, stay motivated and everything. But it was a great experience, man. Honestly, like I enjoyed being a strong-willed character on
an antagonist.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Kind of be like an asshole, but you know, and I'm actually, you know, I'm actually a softie, despite what the look would be. Don't let the tattoos fool you and stuff, you know. No, it was great, man. It was a lot of fun. It was good to tap into like a different part of me, and you know, and being able to like kind of like turn it on when I had to, and you know, kind of again putting stuff into. I like to be able to put stuff that I learned in class, in scenes like that, because it's like a mental check for me. Like, all right, you were able to do that, you know? Well, how else do you challenge yourself?
Right.
And in that short weekend, I felt like there was a lot of times where I was able to do that. Even times where like I didn't have a line, it was still easy for me to like. It was fun. It was fun.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought you were a pretty badass character. I mean, especially you guys can check it out, the trailers for tonight, season 3 on YouTube. But let me tell you something though. As much as I was very fortunate for the opportunity to direct, I was. I'll be honest with you. I was honestly shitting bricks because not only was this the first time that I ever did something like this, but I feel like everybody else involved had a lot more experience than I did, and I just wanted to be able to rise to the occasion. Yeah, I feel like if I could be an authoritative voice in the room for sure, but I needed to make sure that I needed everybody on the same page. And I like I said, I've always wanted to get my hand dip my hand into directing somehow, shape, or form, and you know I was finally able to do that. But I feel like now I have a much more respect for what filmmakers really do, because there's so much more than just what meets the eye and what you see in like IMDb, or when you see a behind the scenes making a featurette. There's a lot more to it in the process that people realize. I mean, to anybody that's not familiar with the filming process, you know, we filmed for 3 days straight, and some of those scenes are only probably going to be in for like 5 minutes at a time. Yeah, so it was a long process, but and I remember at the end of the weekend, the end of the shoot, I was extremely exhausted and I had to wake up early the next day, but I was still kind of riding.
I remember we walked to the car together.
Yeah,
you like we were done.
Yeah, and it was also raining too.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you know what? Like I in some way, shape, or form, I was still kind of riding a high because. I finally set out something to do it, and I kind of bring this up constantly to let people know out there that just look at me. I mean, I'm a pretty self-deprecating guy at times, but I mean this in really a positive way. Anybody wants to, if they need any proof of what they want to do and if they have a passion of doing it, just take a look at me. I don't have a lot of confidence in myself sometimes, despite despite the image that I could portray. But I'm always going to be honest with the audience, and I'm going to be honest with myself. But just take a look at me and how I was able to do it. And if basically, long story short, if I can do it, anybody can. That's the way that I look at it.
Well, can I just say, man?
Of course,
you're kind of selling yourself short, because
I get that a lot.
Like me being there, like I felt like you were doing that a long time. I thought you were doing that a long time. And I was there with, I show up everywhere super early. I even showed up here about an hour early, but
I appreciate that.
Yeah. No, it's the thing that I have. People criticize me because I show up to the airport 3 hours early, but that's a different segment. Yeah, right. But like that day I showed up early, and the extras showed up early too. And we were all talking, and the respect they were talking about you, you know, them barely knowing you, just knowing you from a group chat. And then when you showed up, the kind of like the presence that you showed was just like your composure. And I feel like that's the only thing you need. If you show up with the right composure, the right mentality, and you kind of keep that panic within and just control it, you know, I think it'll be fine. And honestly, man, the way you ran that whole weekend, I feel like it just worked out. And I feel like it highlighted the chemistry me and you had, because if I were to say, Jason, what do you think about this? Like, you weren't too big on yourself to be like, that's not gonna work. This is my show, newbie. You know, like, it was like you were like, all right, let's try that. Let's see if it works.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like with a lot of it actually did. You know, when you were able to kind of like listen and then see what fit best. And then when you executed, I think it worked out, man. So honestly, kudos to you, man. Like, you shouldn't sell yourself short. You did a great job. It's the chemistry worked out, and I feel like it made the shooting better for it too. So,
well, I didn't even know that, but I really thank you for telling me that. And no, I understand that that's something that I got to get. I got to be a better job. I got to do a better job at doing.
Yeah.
But either way, I really appreciate the words and the sentiment, and I can't wait to actually work together on future projects.
Yeah,
I know that's definitely.
I'm just saying that, so I'm invited to the next show. All right. Nah, just kidding.
Yeah. No. So what other I think we kind of expanded on how, we just don't want it to be like one stop, and we just want to reach for a certain goal, and then afterwards we just kind of stay stagnant. I feel like when it comes to people like you, me, Cass, Marv, Joe, Gene, Lamar, anybody that's in our circle, Cynthia, it feels like we're kind of in the mindset where, like, okay, we did this, now what else we can do? Now what can we do next? So besides modeling and acting, which you've been already dipping your toe into, and you have some experience and stuff, what are the things do you think that you'd be interested in trying later on in the future, as far as like anything else? It could be entertainment, it could be anything. What do you think the future lies for Joel?
Well, me jumping into this world has opened my mind, like, drastically, where nothing is out of the possibility. Zane.
I love Zane. Shout out to
Zane. Great guy, man. Like, beautiful mind, just open. Like,
yes.
The guy he's it's like he knows a little of everything, and his artistic skill is just, like that kid is so far from hitting his potential. Like, it's like the ceiling just isn't like close to that came out wrong. Like, he just has so much potential that he's like, there's so much room there, you know. And I take every chance that I can to pick his brain, and it's just the great thing. And I've even picked his brain about cameras and stuff like that, because I'm like, hey, maybe someday, I might want to do photography, because have you seen his page? Like, the pictures that are on there, it's just incredible. Like, it's just art, And I think with something like this, anything that involves any sort of art, something that I can stamp my name on it, I think it's something that I want to do. Like, I want my identity. I don't know what I want it on. I know right now I'm in my passion, but anything that involves me being able to stamp my name on it. Like, if I was an artist, like drawing wise, I'd want to jump into that. If I was a painter, I'd paint, So, it's funny that you said the podcasting thing. I did want to do the podcasting thing at one point. Just things kind of like strung away. I kind of started overthinking the process, which that's one thing that I learned you can't do, is overthink too much.
Yep.
Because then you just won't be able to. Even when you called me today, you were like, hey, you were like, can you make it? I was like, oh, man, Papa hasn't gotten the haircut yet. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, you know what? I've been wanting to sit here with you, man, and I've been wanting to, like, chop it up and be able to really engage.
Yeah.
And be in this atmosphere. So same thing with what I said about the podcasting. I started overthinking, like, oh, do I have to get the right equipment? Do I have to get the right space? Do I have to get this? And I just never. And that's an example of me overthinking it. It never materialized.
And you're absolutely right. It is overthinking, because I've actually shared this with the audience before, but maybe you're not aware of it. When I first started First Class Second Place, I started in my apartment closet, and I started off from there. It was only a little 5-minute episode, and then afterwards I transformed it into an audio only podcast, and I did that for several episodes, and that's how I was able to meet people and make these connections and so on and so forth. And then now I'm in Bravery Studios here in Garfield, New Jersey, which I'm very fortunate to be proud of and be a part of. But the point that I'm getting at is I felt like if I was in the same mindset where you were before as far as the overthinking, I have to have the right equipment. It has to be the right timing. I have to have this, I have to have that. And I feel like if I did go that route, I would my talent would have stayed stagnant. You know, I would have stayed pat as far as a podcast host is concerned. And who knows, maybe I would have lost a passion for it pretty quickly because I didn't learn how to evolve. I didn't learn how to grow. So I'm really glad that I took that approach from when I started from at one aspect that was very minute to where we are right now in this studio, and then who knows, the sky's the limit, what could happen later on. The point is that I'm so glad that I was able to go from a level where an aspect where it allowed me to grow and evolve, as opposed to just making sure that everything had to be in order. Because one thing that I've learned in the past couple of years, brother, there's no such thing as the right time. Yeah, you can't always just think about I'll just do it when the right time comes along. This that no, just everything's not going to fall into place right away. But as long as you get the ball rolling, that's the most important thing. Yeah. And one of the things 100%. That I learned, and one of the things that I learned about also that made me realize that it's time to shit or get off the pot is when my father passed away very unexpectedly almost 6 years ago. Thank you, man. Yeah. And the sad part about that story, besides the fact that he passed away, was the fact that he was just only 2 months away from retirement, bro. Just 2 months away from retirement. And right before he passed away, all he kept on thinking about is like, I just got to make all this money and make sure that I'm good. And I think it robbed him of actually living his life. Consumes you, man. Yeah, it really consumed him. And, this was a guy that he always wanted to teach me this, teach me that. And he always used to complain about, it's just like I'm trying to teach you, but you never want to learn. And ironically, his passing was in some way, shape, or form, the biggest lesson that I ever learned in my life. Yeah. So that's one thing that I wish he was here physically so I could thank him, but I know that in spirit he's still with me.
So wake up call that you just don't want to have, but you might need. Mm-hmm.
And me, I'm hard headed. You got to hit me over the head with a fucking brick in order for me to get some common sense sometimes.
And that hair still wouldn't move.
Touche. Let's get another ding for that, Steve. I really appreciate that one.
Zing. All right, cool.
Yeah, man, but we're about to close out this episode in a little bit, man. I can't tell you how much fun that I've had talking with you, not just on the show, but also just when we speak about just anything, whether it's football, whether it's movies, whether it's just sending each other these fucking crazy ass memes and everything with our twisted sense of humor and everything. But I really can't wait to see what else we got in store. I don't even know what we have in store yet, but I know that we're gonna definitely touch on something in the future. And also, I want to let you know that you being on the show, this is not just a one and done deal. We've had guests reappear many times, so there's always going to be an open invitation for you to come on the show anytime.
Whenever you'll have me, man, just knock on my door, man. I'll come right over.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, and before we go, I just have one more question that I like to ask you. We'll ask everybody that comes onto the show, and if you've seen the show, you probably know what's coming next. So you, Joel Frometa, if they were to make a movie on your life, which actor would you like to see portray your character and why?
Man, does it have to be current time or?
It could be anything. They could be alive. They could be dead. There's no right or wrong answer. All right. So, they don't even have to look like you.
Doesn't even have to. Well, I would have to say The Rock with hair. Slap a beard on him, and we'll be good. Nah,
he's already got the tattoos.
He's already got the tattoos. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And he got the sense of humor. So I don't want to say they were twins, but. The Rock wishes. Nah, just kidding.
Yeah, just keep on eating that tres golpe, man. All right, so The Rock. I could see that because he's a very charismatic person, and you're very charismatic as well. So
also too, I've always had that's like my bromance. Well, I grew up loving the guy. You know what I'm saying? Right. WWE and stuff like that. So it was like. So if I could choose anybody to play me, I don't care if we don't look alike, right? Yeah, it would be pretty badass.
Yeah. And before we go, real quick, for the sports audience that does watch the show, what is your prediction for the Philadelphia Eagles this year?
I don't like to spoil it. I don't like to jinx it because I remember one year they called themselves the Dream Team, and it was the worst year they ever had. So
wasn't that back in 2011 or something like that?
Yeah, it was pretty.
Yeah,
Vince Young was still.
Yeah, ironically, I remember that because ironically, I'm a Jets fan, and people were saying that those are the two teams that are going to go to the Super Bowl, and we didn't even make the playoffs. So.
No, and I think we were 4-12 that year, if that. And then the drought didn't stop that year.
We were 8-8.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be really humble. I'm gonna say we're gonna be at the top of the NFC East. East, but
okay, all right.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. It's just, you know,
well, we might have to get you on Yo New York Sports, which is another sports podcast that I'm doing with my boy Hugo. Shout out to Hugo from the Hugo Boy podcast. He happens to be a Dallas fan, unfortunately, so you might it might get a little bit
Let's
spicy.
Do it, bro. Let's do it. I'm ready.
All right, well, Joel, man, thank you so much for coming through, man. Once again, clutch. Came in, appreciate it, had a blast with you. Real quick, where can they find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram. I am Frometa. Yeah, I'm there, man. You know, you can also find me on TikTok. I don't know if you guys TikTok, but at
people be taking and talking.
Yeah,
don't worry.
Taking and talking. Yeah. So I take and talk a lot, but yeah, it's self_made_fade. Yeah, you guys can find me on there.
All right, and ladies and gentlemen, don't forget the season 3 premiere of Nights premieres on August 31st, aka Halloween 2023. Co-directed and acted by myself, this lovely gentleman over here, and also we got Steve behind the glass. Actually, has a cameo there, a little spoiler there, but be sure to check out that. Can't wait for you guys to see it. Yeah. Very exciting. And ladies and gentlemen, you can find me at JasonEnrique_ on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Threads, everything. Every social media out there is just JasonEnrique_. Thank you so much for tuning in. Shout out to Ash Lazoo. This is the First Class Second Place podcast. We out.